you have to picture the scene. It's 1977. The man on stage is not the boy who shook his hips on television and made parents furious. That boy is long gone. The man on stage is 42 years old, but he looks older. He is heavy, his face is puffy, he moves with a weight that isn't just physical. He is encased in a white jumpsuit, a costume that once seemed like a symbol of a king, but now looks a little tired, a little sad. Like the man himself, the audience loves him, they scream for him. But it's a different kind of love now. It's partly nostalgia, it's partly pity, it's partly a morbid curiosity, they've all read the papers. They know the stories, the food, the isolation, the strange life lived in a gilded cage. He is a living legend, but he is also a living headline. A caricature, the king of rock and roll, now holding court in Las Vegas and on tour, going through the motions of his own greatness. The show is a well-oiled machine. The TCB band is flawless. The backing singers, the sweet inspirations are perfect. They play the hits, they do the karate moves, he throws scarves to the screaming women in the front row. It's a great show, it's professional, but for anyone really watching, there's a distance. A barrier between the performer and the man. He is playing the part of Elvis Presley. But on some nights, something else happens. The machine stops for a moment. The mask slips, and the real man comes through. This was one of those nights. He walks over to the piano. This is not part of the usual routine. He sits down a little heavily. The band quiets down. A roadie, a man named Charlie Hodge, comes over and holds a microphone for him. The king can't be bothered to hold his own microphone at the piano, or maybe he needs his hands to play, or maybe he just needs the support. It's a strange and intimate image. The global superstar needing a friend to hold his mic. He speaks to the audience, his voice is a little slurred, a little thick, he jokes around. But his eyes don't seem to be smiling. There's a weariness there. He says he's going to do a song. He starts to play the piano. The chords are simple, but they are filled with a deep, searching melancholy. The sound is instantly familiar to everyone in the room. It's a song about longing. A song about waiting for a love that is far away. And then he starts to sing. The first few lines are soft, almost a whisper. His voice is not the powerhouse of the 1950s. It has a tremor, it has a rasp, there is damage there is mileage, but there is also a profound beauty. It's the voice of a man who has lived, a man who has lost. He isn't performing the song. He is confessing it. The lyrics are about time passing slowly, about needing someone's touch. For a man who lived his life surrounded by people yet was known to be deeply lonely, these words were not just lyrics. They were his reality. He was trapped in Graceland, he was trapped by his own fame. His great love, Priscilla, was gone. He was singing to her. He was singing to a memory. He was singing to a version of himself that no longer existed. As the song builds, so does his voice. It gets stronger. The tremor smooths out. The power that was always there begins to surge. He is no longer just a man at a piano. He is a conduit for some immense primal feeling. He closes his eyes. He is no longer in the arena. He's somewhere else entirely. He is lost in the song. The audience feels it. The energy in the room changes. The screams and whistles die down. A hush falls over the crowd. They are not watching a nostalgia act anymore. They are not watching a celebrity go through the motions. They are witnessing something raw and unplanned. They are seeing a man break his own heart open on a stage right in front of them. The song is about a desperate, almost holy need for connection. I need your love, he sings. And in that moment, it's not a line from a song. It's a plea from the most famous man in the world. A man who could have anything he wanted, except it seemed the one thing he was singing about. The simple human connection he craved. The music swells. The band and the orchestra come in, lifting his voice higher and higher. He is pushing himself. You can see the strain on his face. Sweat is beading on his forehead. This is not easy for him. It is taking everything he has, every ounce of breath, every bit of his soul. And then comes the end of the song, the climax, the part where the singer is supposed to soar. To show off his range, to hit the big note and bring the house down. He takes a breath. It's a visible, audible gasp. A man preparing himself for a great physical effort. He leans into the microphone that Charlie is holding steady, and he lets it go. The note that comes out of him is not just a note. It is a cry. It is a sound of pure, undiluted anguish and beauty. It climbs higher and higher, far beyond what you would expect from this tired, overweight man. It is a sound of defiance, a sound of a spirit refusing to be broken by the body that contains it. The note hangs in the air impossibly long, perfectly controlled. It is a testament to the raw, God-given talent that was still there, buried under all the pain and the excess. For that one moment, he is not the 1977 Elvis. He is all of them. He is the shy boy from Tupelo. He is the rebellious rock and roller. He is the Hollywood movie star. He is the Las Vegas king. He is a man facing his own end. It is all there in that single soaring sound. It's a sound that says, I am still here. You may think you know me, but you have no idea. This is who I am. The note finally fades. He finishes the last line of the song, his voice now gentle again, almost broken. He slumps slightly at the piano. The song is over, and the audience is completely, utterly silent. This is the question. Why the silence? In a rock and roll show, silence is failure. It's the opposite of what you want. You want screams, you want applause, you want a roar of approval that shakes the building. But what he got was a deep, profound, stunned silence. The silence was not failure. It was the highest form of respect. It was awe. People were silent because they had just seen something they were not supposed to see. The curtain had been pulled back. They had seen the man behind the legend, and he was in pain. He was vulnerable. He was magnificent. To applaud felt wrong. It felt cheap. It would be like applauding at a funeral or in a church. They had just witnessed a sacred moment, a confession, a prayer. They were silent because they were in shock. They had come to see the jumpsuit and the scarves and the karate moves. They expected to be entertained. They did not expect to be moved. They did not expect to have their hearts broken along with his. The sheer emotional force of what he had just done was overwhelming. People needed a moment to process it. That's to breathe, to understand what they had just experienced. They were silent because of the contrast. The contrast between the broken man they saw at the piano and the divine sound that had come out of him. It didn't make sense. How could so much power and beauty come from a place of such visible decay? It was a miracle, a paradox, and it left them speechless. They were silent because they were witnesses. They knew instinctively that this was not just another performance. This was important. This was something they would remember for the rest of their lives. It was the truth. For 3 minutes, the most famous man in the world had told them the absolute truth about his life using someone else's words. And perhaps they were silent because they felt a little bit of shame. Shame for buying the magazines. Shame for laughing at the jokes about his weight. Shame for seeing him as a product, a caricature, and not as a human being with a heart that could still break. In that moment, he had forced everyone in the room to see him, the real him. And it was an uncomfortable, devastating, and beautiful sight. After a few long seconds, the silence was finally broken. It wasn't a sudden explosion. It started with one person, then another. A wave of applause that grew and grew until it was a deafening roar. It was not the polite applause of an entertained audience. It was the thunderous applause of people who had been changed. It was a thank you, it was an apology, it was a recognition of his greatness, not just as a singer, but as a man. He stood up from the piano. He looked out at the crowd, a little dazed, as if he was surprised to find them there. He gave a small, weary bow. The showman was back. The mask was back in place. The machine started up again. But for everyone who was there that night, and for everyone who has seen the footage since, that moment is unforgettable. It is the moment when the king took off his crown and showed everyone the heavy head that had to wear it. The performance became legendary, especially because of what happened next. Just a few weeks later, he was gone. He died on August 16, 1977. This performance, filmed in June for a television special, became his last will and testament. It was his farewell. He didn't know it was the end, but his soul seemed to. That is why the ending left audiences in stunned silence. It was not just the dramatic ending of a song. It was the sound of a man's soul being laid bare. He poured all of his pain, his loneliness, and his still burning genius into one final, transcendent moment. He gave his audience everything he had left, and in return, for a few perfect seconds, they could only give him their silence. It was the most honest and powerful response they could possibly offer. The song, of course, was Unchained Melody.